You see, we are created in a magnificent vibration, in an absolutely magnificent vibration. Born risk takers. Free. That conditioning takes place after birth. You can change it. It takes guts. It takes goals. Now, do you know something? You're sitting there watching this and you're thinking, by God, I'm going to change something. Now we say, keep reminding yourself that you have tremendous reservoirs of potential within you, and therefore you are quite capable of doing anything you set your mind to. You really can. I don't care what the cynics tell you. Quit listening to some of your peers. Now all you must do is figure out how you can do it, not whether you can or not. When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? You've got to create a sense of urgency. I'm going to do it right now.
If you can see it, you can do it. But the beautiful truth is you can do anything. We got to know there is a place. There is a specific frequency. And if you get on that frequency, you're going to attract what you need to you. This is what it's all about. Why have you been endowed with such awesome powers? If you'll make a committed decision, this I'm going to do. And you don't have to know how. You do not have to know how. The second you make the committed decision, you flip your brain onto the frequency that you have to be on to attract what you have to attract to manifest the thing that you want. If you can see it, you can do it. It's got to be something you want. Wants come from inside. Act like you're already there. Walk, talk, speak, live like you're already there. Don't set a small goal. Don't set something that doesn't really wind your stem. Set it so big it jazzes you. It really gets you going. When something of a very high nature resonates with the very high side of you, you'll know it. You'll know it. You will feel it. Feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. The only prerequisite, do you want it? Not do you need it, not could you do it. The only prerequisite is, do you want it? Take the lid off your marvelous mind and dream. For goodness sake, give yourself the right to do that. Get your analytical mind out of the way. Put it in your pocket for a while. All you're doing is exploring, daydreaming. What did Lawrence say? All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their mind waken the day to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dream with open eyes to make it possible. This I did.
Rookie mistake. Welcome. You know, you've got to turn off your mute, right? Yeah, I love that video. That's what I was saying. But look, welcome to Freedom, Health and Lifestyle, personal development with a plan. And of course, this is episode 108, How to Become a Millionaire, Earl Shoaff, part 2. Earl was Jim Rome's mentor. Probably know who Jim Rome is. But don't forget, you know, it's all about thinking and doing better. That's what it's about. It's about, you know, creating these new ideas, you know, and then acting on them, right? But look, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, click the notification button. That way you'll know when Joey and I are usually on. Don't know if Joey's going to get here today. And you can probably tell I'm in a different location today. My background's blurred out. But look, this is going to be pretty straightforward. We're going to watch the second half of the video we were watching last week, you know, How to Become a Millionaire, Earl Shoaff. I think I'm saying that right. I'm not sure if I am or not. But anyway, look, you know, follow along, listen along. You might see you might hear something that triggers something in you, an idea in you. And then it's about acting on that idea. You know, like, you know, maybe if you get an idea and you're thinking about it, and you have to ask yourself the question, will that idea make my life better? And if it would, then you have to act on it. Follow through on it. I suppose, it comes to that video that we were just watching just now. We'll watch it again at the end. And of course, there's some other stuff that I want to go through with you as well, about the My Why Tribe. You would have saw that banner on the front just before it got started. But I want to tell you a little bit more about the My Why Tribe and how you can get involved. Let me see. Anything else that we need to do, or we're going to just jump straight in? I don't think there is. I'm pretty sure there isn't. I'll get to the other stuff later. Yeah. All right. Let's just get straight into it. Let's add this. Take a look. Now, I'm on a tiny little screen here as well, so I can't really see as much as what I'd like to be able to see, but we're not going to worry about that, right? And I don't have my two-screen system, which I've kind of fallen in love with, but I'm just on a little laptop here today. And we're going to see it. This is old school, right? The way I used to do it. So I'll be flicking backwards and forwards to see. So, look, we're partway through this. We're about halfway through, a little bit more than halfway through. And last week he was talking about, planting the seeds in your mind, setting goals, not digging that seed up to check to see when it's coming. All of these things, go and check out last week's, and you'll be up to speed. But obviously, check it out after you've seen this, and then you can watch the whole thing. Links are in the description if you want to reach out, get in touch. And hold on. I think Joey is here. Let me just check. He is. I didn't see him there. I didn't see you there, buddy. How you doing?
Good, Mike.
I'm on a tiny little screen, so I couldn't see what was going on. You can probably tell I'm in a different location. And in fact, can I make this bigger? No, because when I try and make my screen bigger, it makes it smaller. Right? How you doing anyway?
Oh, good, Mike. Good.
So I was just saying we're going to do the second part to what we were watching last week. And last week, he was talking about planting the seed. Don't dig the seed up to check when it's coming, goal setting, and all this kind of stuff. But I think this is going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to hearing what you've got to say about it as well. All right, Joe, let's get straight into this.
Yep.
Now, what's going to happen with seed that you planted in the subconscious mind? You'll be driving down the street, you'll be in a restaurant talking to a friend, and all of a sudden this red Cadillac convertible, the white top, and the whole thing will hit you right again, or you'll see your dream. It'll keep coming back. The reason this thing keeps coming back to you, this is the only way that the universal law has of talking to you. There's no voice. That's all in visualization. And when this dream comes up, what it really means is it is on its way to you. It is on its way to you. It's right around the corner. And so you do not, at that time, say how, when, or where. All you do is say, thank you, because you know it's on its way. And that immediately puts it back out of your mind. Now, how would you act if you really and truly wanted a red Cadillac convertible? If you really and truly wanted one, it was a strong desire in your life, and you knew it was on its way, how would you act? Man, you'd vibrate all over, wouldn't you? You'd feel terrific. You'd keep saying to yourself, man, it's almost here, it's almost here. You'd walk taller, you'd look taller, you'd be happier, you'd be more positive, you'd be more everything. And so you act different. You talk different. You even look like a prosperous person. You have things, wonderful things happening to you. Now, where does the positive attitude come in at? This automatically creates a positive attitude because it's a law of expectancy. Good things are going to happen. You have planted your seeds properly, and they are working themselves to you. And so you are automatically a positive person because all these wonderful things are going to happen. Now, don't just have one seed planted, folks. Plant many seeds. Any great desire you have in your life, for tangible objects or intangible objects. You can have anything in this world you want to have, and you can be anything in this world you want to be by using this simple process. And there's absolutely no way you can keep success from your door if you will follow these basic, simple little process that I've just described. This is the law of life. And every one of you people have worked this process. But maybe you weren't completely aware of how you worked it. But think of that's why you only get 2 out of 8 things, or 3 out of 8, or 1 out of 8, or 1 out of 10. Because you didn't know exactly the process that you were using. Now you know the process. So you can do it with everything in this world. Children, our children, folks. How many times have you heard people say to their children, the child says, I'm going to be president of the United States. And the father and mother would say to him, you, with your studies, you'll never make it, Junior. Now, this is a wonderful seed to plant in this fertile little brain, the subconscious, this fertile little mind. You are telling him he can't. He isn't smart enough. The child says, I'm going to be a rich man when I grow up. I'm going to have everything in this world. He says, you're going to have to learn a lot, Junior. One thing, you don't know how to handle money. You got to learn to use that old elbow grease. Anybody that's ever used the elbow grease, I don't know, has ever made millions. I'll assure you. The elbow grease is up here, and very few people use that. Now, what do you want to tell Junior? Anytime any children come to you or to the parents, you should tell your children this. They say, Junior, you're the type of child that can have anything in this world. You have the ability and the intelligence to go anywhere, do anything, and have everything in this world. It is yours because you're that type of a child. Start planting these seeds in our children. This country today is teaching too many children, what to think instead of how to think.
Hey, Joe, I might just make comments on that just before he goes on, because I do think that's interesting. He was talking about, you have the ability and the intelligence, and it's rare. Growing up, often we're not told to believe in ourselves. We're told that we can't have stuff. What do you think to that?
Yeah, very, very interesting concept. Even myself, I grew up. I couldn't really remember much of, my dad or my mom said to me, you're gonna be success, you're gonna be doing well one day and stuff like that. I think that it's more growing up in the island. They used to just keep you humble by, tell you what not to do, tell you what the discipline that you need to, or attitude you need to show to others. They don't, it's that concept really, really opened my mind. Even I have kids before I start doing personal development. But all I remember is, in Sunday school, they said, I think the book of Proverbs, it said, you teach a child when they're very young. They taught you, and you taught them the way, and they will never depart from it. I think that concept, it's expand now when you study personal development and you study about yourself, realizing that if you plant a seed in a child mind from very young age, that child will grow up believing in what you say and what you plant in them. And I think it's a very interesting concept, because I wish there's a lot of parents, they listen to this concept, because it's so true. Most of the time we tell our kids, we look at our children and stop them, rebuke them from, even trying or, do something, because we think, son, money don't grow in the trees, don't expect anything to give it to you. Instead of encourage them, if they want to run fast, let them run fast. If they want to run quick, jump higher, let them jump higher. And it said to them, you can jump higher than what you think. I think when we try to do those kind of things when we were young, we've been stopped. And I think that's one of the big mistakes that we ever make for a child, is to stop them or limiting them from expanding their mind and knowing they have a potential in them to do more than what they have or think at that time. So it's a very good lesson. I wish a lot of parents can touch into this kind of personal development and personal insight of growth, and it's very powerful. I think a lot of psychology. They use that a lot now, and in sports science and stuff like that. They do tell the athlete, wake up every morning and stand in front of the mirror and just tell themselves, I am a gold medalist. I am the champion. I am I'm a winner. I'm a goal achiever. I think Bob used a lot goal achiever, and I think in my journey, when I realized that, everywhere I go, I keep saying to myself that no matter what happened in life, I can still winning in life because I have something in me that no one else know about it. No one else that could take it away from me. It's only me that I can make it happen to me. So it's very, very I like the concept, and this kind of personal wisdom is so powerful, and it can go back to old days, and it can still current nowadays.
Exactly. No, it's totally right. Because prior to him saying that, he was talking about, I made a note, the beliefs that you have in yourself that someone else has instilled in you is what you're talking about. When you're growing up and there are limits put on you, expectations set for you, but they're not high expectations. They're mediocre expectations. Like don't want to rock the boat, you don't want to. I think you do need to rock the boat a little bit, right? You need to find where your limits are, if any. So it definitely. And I remember I was out working with my dad. I was only young, maybe about 13 or 14. And I think there was like a BMW came up, a convertible BMW. And I'd literally seen this car on a television program. There's a popular program called Top Gear. You might be familiar with it. It's not on anymore, but it used to be on, and I used to love watching it on a Sunday night. It used to be on BBC Two. It was on Sunday night, and I'd watch it, and then go to school in the week and talk about it, about all these amazing cars and everything else. I remember seeing one, and I said to my dad, "Oh my God, that car's amazing. I would love to have one of them. It's got 11 motors. 11 motors in the roof, to bring the roof up and down, and stuff like this." And my dad's attitude was, "That's just 11 more things that can go wrong, son. That's an expensive car. You don't really want to have that car." Do you know what I mean? Because, if it goes wrong, it's going to be expensive. And I always remember that, and I think about, and for a long time, I used to always kind of think those things, like I would look at something and I think, yeah, I'd really like that. And I thought, well, no, because there's a lot that could go wrong with that. And then it would be expensive to fix it. And now I think, like none of that matters. Do you know what I mean? If you want that, you can have it if you want it. Now you need to be realistic in the sense of, can I afford it? And yes, you probably can, but you can always earn more money, right? So it's not really an issue. But I'm not talking about going and buying things, and paying for them on the monthly or the weekly. I'm talking about working, earning the money, having the lifestyle to be able to buy these things, and enjoy them, and it's not just about that. It's after you've got those things, what difference could you make in other people's lives, when you're talking about teaching people that they have the ability and the intelligence to do whatever they want, because that is a hard nut to crack. When you were talking about Proverbs saying that, give me this kid, we'll teach him these ways and he'll be stuck in those ways forever. Like that's a hard nut to crack, Joe. Do you know what I mean? It really is. Fortunately for you and me, we kind of figured it out for ourselves that we're made for more, if you like. A lot of people aren't on that journey. They're not on that path, are they? Do you know? So like, there's no doubt that I do love listening to the older stuff, Joe. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't know why. I just enjoy it. Damn. But it is deep.
Yeah, it's deep. That's the right way. It's very deep. And it's some of them that it's like some of the things that I learned from the Bible, thousand years ago, it's still reverence nowadays. If we can still apply that, that's wisdom. That's wisdom. That's like gold, and
Yeah. Yeah.
diamond lasts forever.
Yeah. But it's the moments, Joe, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the moments to know when to apply that wisdom, you know?
Absolutely.
But that's about, you know, what Bob talks about, you know, walking the walk. You have to walk the walk. It's not just about, you know, like I was listening to all week. I've been listening to the You Were Born Rich, you know, webinar, you know, just been studying it. I love listening to it, you know, because there's always nuggets of information in there that you catch the second, third, fourth time round. Do you know what I mean? You know, and, you know, I think John Canary was talking about, you know, you have these ideas, you know, and you've got to ask yourself about that idea. Will that idea improve my life? And if it would, take action, act on the idea, you know? And, you know, he's talking about this, you know, like, you know, Earl Shoaff is also talking about that, you know, in his speech about taking action, you know, acting on it. I love the way when he says, you know, like if you're dreaming of, you know, he's talking about that Cadillac, but, you know, for me, it might be something different. For you, it might be houses for you. Do you know what I mean? You know, and, you know, and it's just about saying thank you, knowing that it's on its way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Thank you.
And again, that was covered more recently, you know, by Bob Proctor and, you know, Rhonda Byrne in The Secret, being described as ordering from a catalog. You know, you don't go and order it a second time because you know it's on its way, you know? So like there's, I don't know, like so much information, but then it is, look, to be honest, it's one thing sitting here and taking all this information in. You know, we have to take the information away and then start using it, start applying it in our own lives, you know, to make those things happen, to get those things, to get that better, and not just for us, you know, but from that creative aspect, you know, of making those around us better at the same time, you know. But you do that by applying it to yourself first, don't you? And being an example for other people to see. Anyway, right, let's get on with it. Be here all bloody day.
And we are growing up children. And we have to, at some time in life, we have to start deciding and pinpointing things that we want in this world. And I am not just talking about the tangible objects. I'm talking about the intangible things. What would you like to be? What type of person would you like to be? Would you like to have more love in your life? Well, then you must learn to give love. You'll never have anything without giving. Everything I give, I receive back, multiplied. If I have a lot of hate in my life, I'm giving hate out. And so if I don't want hate coming in my life, I should not be giving it out. If I don't want people to talk about me, I shouldn't be talking about people. Everything that I send out, I get back with feeling. Every thought I think, I don't get because I did not plant my seed properly. I did not have a true visualization. How many of you ladies have thought of a beautiful dress, or a beautiful something that you wanted to have? How many of you just said, I would love to have a mink stole? A few years ago, if my wife even mentioned the mink stole, the first thing that come in my mind is, where are you going to get it from? How are you going to pay for it? And I did not understand these things. When you just say a mink stole, you know what? I never was aware that there were so many mink stoles in the country. Every kind, at every price and color and designs and everything else. And if you don't even know the exact kind you want, how do you ever expect to have it? Huh? That's like somebody saying, you know the amazing thing? The average person in this room, and I'm only saying this, people, because we are the average people of the world. And I'm saying this, and I say average because I am talking to an intelligent group of people. I'm not talking to the people way down the ladder. I'm talking to a group of intelligent people. And I'm saying this, that you analyze this yourself and ask yourself this basic question. Do you know what you want in life? If I was to ask you right now, what do you really want? What are the tangible objects that you want in this world? Things that you can feel and touch and smell. What are these things that you want in life? And you know, folks, The amazing thing, I doubt if there's 2% of the people in this room could tell me and describe it and just like that come right out and say it. Because they have not been completely defined. He said, I want a new home. I said, what kind of a home would you?
Hey, Joey, listen, did you hear that? Did you hear how harsh, he's talking to a group of people, right?
Yeah.
He's there and he's like, it's not chastising them, right? He's, but he's like, I don't know how many people in that room, maybe 100, 150, maybe 200 people, I don't know. And he's saying, that you're intelligent people. But if I asked you, do you know what you want? What do you want? What is it that you want? Only 2% of you would know. Do you know, imagine if you were sitting in that room, you'd be like, damn, I hope he doesn't ask me. I hope he doesn't point at me and say, what do you want?
So true. Yeah.
But honest, isn't it? And to be honest, talk about, and I think sometimes, that's the way that, well, it's not like that now. Everything is, talked around. People don't really ask you what you want. They don't tell you. They try and tell you in a roundabout way what it is that they're trying to tell you without actually saying it to you, and maybe we just need a little bit more directness, not necessarily with other people, but with ourselves. We need to be honest with ourselves and say, what is it that I want? And then literally write it down as he talked about, in that first part, write it down, be really, really detailed, extremely detailed, and then sign it at the bottom. Thank you. Do you know what I mean? Put a date on it or whatever, and then put it in your pocket, put it in your wallet, whatever it is, carry it around with you. I don't care. It doesn't matter, but focus on it. And when you see it, say, thank you. I know it's on the way.
Yeah.
That, to be honest, when you think about kids do this every year, around about this time of year, you start seeing the adverts for Christmas and Santa Claus and all this kind of stuff. And then kids write a list of the things that they want. They're taught that we actually teach them to set goals, not in the right way, Yeah. And then on Christmas morning, they get up, they get everything that they asked for. And then we never carry that on into real life, So damn. I just thought that was hard. I just imagined sitting in that room and probably looking down at the ground thinking, please don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't talk.
Yeah. Right in the forehead.
Yeah.
Not me.
Right. He says, well, let's see now. I think I'd like a 2-story building. No, this is a good way to pick your home. You think you'd like a 2-story building. You don't know how many bedrooms. You haven't laid out a design. You don't know exactly what you want. And this is why, folks, that you know what happens? We get a lot of things just left over from the people who know what they want. That's why we do not get the things. We haven't defined it. We do not know exactly what we want. How much success do you want? You guys, I want a lot of money. Let me tell you the importance in defining things. This is a very, very important thing. Very important. Boy, you can get yourself messed up something awful if you don't follow this properly. A friend of mine, I told him about this idea of creating a vision. Because when you get the vision of the Cadillac once more, you can even get the feeling of the thing. You can even see yourself in it. You can get the feeling of that thing. This is where things happen quick for you. And I told this person about visualizing things, defining what he wanted. But he didn't define it completely. This was his dream. He wanted to take an ocean voyage. And he got the feeling of the ocean voyage and everything else. He was in this ship, on the bow of the ship, and the waves were rolling, and the breeze was blowing in his face, and the salt water was blowing in his face, and he had all the feeling and everything else. And within 1 year's time, this dream come back to him because he was standing on the bow of the ship. And the swell of the waves, and the breeze was blowing in his face, and the salt water was hitting him on his face. But he forgot to define it completely. And he was taking his voyage. He was in the service. Be sure and define your dream exact. My niece, ever since she was born, she's now 20, 21 years old. We have been teaching her these ideas. But, you know, people don't hear so good. You know, they just hear what they want to hear. For some strange reason, you tell a guy you want it. What do you want? You can have anything in the world you want to have. Anything. You name it. You can have anything. The guy says, well, I haven't got the time to write it down. He can go out. If you dig a ditch from here to Washington, D.C., 6 feet deep, 3 feet wide, I'll give you $1 million. The guy get a shovel and start right in and dig it. But if I say I'll give it to you, the guy says, yeah, can't be. Isn't that amazing? My niece, we've been telling her this thing over and over and over about visualizing and pinpointing the things that she wanted in her life. I said, what do you want? She says, money, money. I said, how much money? She says, just big piles of money. And so she got this feeling, she could see it in her mind, piles of money, just counting out piles of it, you know. $100 bills and 50s and coins and just money all over every place. And within 6 months' time, she was counting out money in a bank. She was a clerk in a bank, a cashier. She did not define it, that it was her money she was counting. Now, that's why these things are important. It's important to define things. It's like the fellow says, I said, what do you want? He says, I want to earn $1,000 a week. I said, you better get a little closer to it than that, Buster. You're not defining it. He said, well, what's wrong with that? I said, I know a lot of people that are earning $1,000 a week, and they're only getting 50. So you want to say, I want to earn and I want to receive $1,000 a week. Now, there's one thing about the subconscious mind, folks. It does not play favorites. It doesn't kid. It doesn't fool. And everything that you plant there, you're going to reap. That's why you want to be sure that you plant exactly what you want. That's why people are getting all the time things they don't want. Guys don't want a house. So he gets a house, any kind of a house. But he gets it. He says, how come we get a house like this? This isn't exactly what we wanted. We've been in here 3 months. We should have had 3 bedrooms instead of 2. And he says, how come we got this? Well, here, he didn't know what he wanted, so he just got a house. He didn't define it. He wouldn't have had that house if he had defined it. And so that is with everything in this world. Everything. If you want to be a happier person, define the type of person you would like to be. Define it, pinpoint it, write it down. Write across there, thank you. Plan it deeply. And once you do it, don't worry about it anymore. This is going to happen to you. All wonderful things are going to happen to you to make you a happy person. You want more success? How much success? You know, when I was working in the dry cleaning business, I was making $100 a week, less than $100. And you know what happened? $100 a week. If somebody told me it paid me $200 a week, I thought, oh man, this is the end. This is the end. I could retire practically on $200 a week. So what is success? What is success? If I talk to a man who's making $3,000 a month and told him I was going to pay him $200 a week, he wouldn't be very happy about the situation. So what is success in your life? What is it that you want? Define it. Write it down. Pinpoint every drop of that dream that you have in your mind. Define it so clearly on that piece of paper that you can completely see it in your mind. And when you get it written down, write thank you on it and plant that seed and put it away. And it'll start to materialize. It'll start coming into your life. That is anything, folks. Anything. Anything. Now, the guy said, I'm going to put down the Statler Hotel. You know why it wouldn't work for him? You know why it wouldn't work for him? I'm not saying it won't work for the fellow, but I'm saying it won't work for the average person. Do you know why? He couldn't even imagine getting it. He can write it down. He can define it. He can put thank you on it, but he can never plant the seed. And the reason he can, because he couldn't even imagine getting the Statler Hotel. That's why. Now, don't forget, this is something that you have to accept. You're going to have it, folks. I told people about a Cadillac, the average people working on average jobs. I said, do you want a Cadillac? The guy said, well, no, I don't want no Cadillac. And I said, well, why don't you want a Cadillac? He says, well, for one thing, he says, it costs so much to operate them. And so, see, he doesn't want one. He isn't ready for that step yet. Now, so he steps from one car to another to another. He raises his consciousness until pretty soon he can buy Cadillacs like the average guy buys a pair of shoes.
That's interesting, Joe, right? You've got to raise your consciousness. He's talking about the guy who, he was talking about, could say, yeah, I want a hotel. I want to own a hotel. And, but he's saying that he could write it down. He could define it. He could even say, thank you, but he'll never have it because is he talking about belief? Is he talking about, knowing? What's he talking about there, Joe? What's your opinion of that?
So he meant to define it, write it down.
Yeah, he was saying define it, pinpoint it, write it down, define it, pinpoint it, write it down, say thank you. But he was talking about the guy who he was saying, look, there's a guy who says he wants this Starmer Hotel, whatever it was. Can't remember the name of it. And he said that he could do all these things. He could write it down. He could even say thank you, but he would never own it. He would never have it, and he's talking about then that because he doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe himself that he can have it. Even if he writes it down, he doesn't believe it. So, do you have, and it brings me back to the secret, not the secret, but the book, The Science of Getting Rich, where the guy, he lived in a house, and he started doing the house up just little bits at a time. And now he has this big, beautiful house. Reminds me of Bob Proctor and his aunt and his auntie, where, they bought this house and she didn't like the curtains. So they took the curtains down and then she got new curtains there to make room for it. Do you know what I mean? Now, then the next time he walked in, he said, there's nothing there. She said, well, that's where my baby grand piano's going. The next time he went, there was a baby grand piano there. So, it's that visualization, but it's also that knowing, knowing that you can have it, that believing in it. Does that come down to self-image, self-belief? What does that come down to? Like it's one thing being broke. What's the, do you say, are you familiar with that guy, My Pillow, the My Pillow guy, Michael something or other, I can't remember, but he was a druggie, cocaine addict, and now he's a millionaire. Do you know what I mean? He sells pillows. He's in America, and there's lots of rags to riches kind of stories, but it's like you say, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time. It happens with, a single decision to change, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And to know, and then and to have an idea. So, but also having the conviction to follow through on that idea, to take action, to do something, to become better, to be disciplined, all the things that we talk about, Joe. So, like, there's nothing holding any of us back, only ourselves. You were talking about it earlier. Like we're only really in competition with ourselves, nobody else. And all we've got to do is just be better than we were yesterday. But it's about having that vision, having that clear vision, Damn, I don't know. Yeah. Give me your thoughts anyway. I'm interested.
It's funny because we will talk about this, this week I was listening to a podcast, a guy called Dot Falgoni. That's the last name. With apology if I didn't pronounce his name properly. He's a professional, and he was interviewing one of the successful people. I don't know which company that, but this guy, he said every time he talked to people, he asked them a question, and the question is about the decision they have to make, not to start anything, the decision to finish something. And I think it's related to the discussion that we have. A lot of people, they think about what they want in life, they write it down, they visualize it, they say, it's coming, it's on its way, thank you. But they didn't go through to finish it. Maybe life get in the way and something happened and they want to, maybe, Bob talk about the rocket, it out of course, and then lucky the computer program it when it's out of course to bring it back. So I think for me, that concept that I come across this week is very powerful because I think in life we decided that this is what I really wanted to do, and then a lot of people didn't bail out or didn't finish it, and they of what they started at the beginning. They plant the seed, but they didn't move forward with it and keep nourish it or cultivate it.
Yeah, neglected it. Yeah.
So the concept is very important. I think it's a lesson for each and every one of us, even the people that listen to this program. Sometimes like the person that I just want a house, but then they got the house, but it's only a 2-bedroom house, but they fortunately they want a 3-bedroom house. And it has to be specific, and you have to be consistently work toward what you want in life, and keep cultivated. Don't harvest it. Don't pull it out like we talked about last week. And then, I thought you're supposed to prepare fruit now, but and so very interesting concept. And it's so true that you remind us, because not everyone wants things in life will happen to them, and maybe the timing it's not it's very important too. When a lot of people they don't, it's not happen to them by the time they got. And I think a lot of testimony that we hear from a lot of our people in our professional and our friends and our environment, that they set the goals and the goal didn't happen exactly when they set the goal too, but it's happened after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years from the time frame they set, but they still achieve the goal.
Yeah,
I think, and because that's the ended result, and that's what is important for me to share what I heard from the podcast that I listened to. This guy mentioned one of the questions that he asked someone that he wanted to work with is, are you ready to make a decision not to start something in life, but to finish something in life?
Yeah.
And I think that this concept that we listen to tonight is very important to, you start to think about it, you define it, you write it down, you start thinking it's on its way, plant the seed, keep planting the seed, and visualize it and work towards it. As we experience in life, that we can be distracted, we can be life getting in the way, and we lose track of why we do things in life and why we decided to start something in life.
It reminds me of something that you said as well a while back, and it wasn't this, but I'll get onto that in a second. When you were talking about the podcaster, it made me think of, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, isn't it? Like it really is. You're going to finish strong. But then as you were talking, it reminded me of something that you had said previously, and that is that we get the opportunity every morning, to start afresh, to start again.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To literally forget about yesterday and just, be the best that you can be right now. Do you know what I mean? And when I think about, like you like going to the gym, do you know what I mean? But I imagine, over the last 3 or 4 weeks when you've been, on war games with the army and things like this, you're probably not getting a chance to go to the gym. But you're probably doing a lot of working out while you're there anyway, moving stuff, running around, doing different things and all that kind of stuff. But you still have to motivate yourself, like when you get home and you get back into that home routine, you have to motivate yourself. When you wake up in the morning, oh God, I don't feel like going to the gym today. Do you know what I mean? And then it's where you have to dig in and say, do you know what? This is why winners win, because they're prepared to do the things that other people aren't prepared to do. Absolutely. Right. And so it makes me think about, it made me think about what you were saying about that each day, every morning you get that opportunity to reset, to start again, So brilliant. I love it, Joey. I love it.
I love it too.
Did you get your promotion yet?
It's coming. I'm
Yeah!
And you can grow. You can grow in your thinking. I've had people say, boy, you got to be careful about people. You know, they'll take you in if you're not careful. And they get such a wonderful visualization. They're always getting taken in. And so you see how we build these pictures in our minds. People will spend the morning. They're going to get ready for a wonderful day. Tomorrow morning now, we're getting ready for a wonderful day. We're going out, and it's going to be the most successful day we've ever had in our entire life. I said, how are you going to start the morning? Exactly what are you going to do? He said, well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go out on the porch. He's going through his morning now. He's going out on the porch, and he's going to get his newspaper. He's going to get his newspaper and read a little bit about positive thinking on the headlines. And if he can't find it there, he'll look and look and look and look until he finds something that is really good and negative. And then he'll tell his wife and describe it. She says, guess what I found in the paper? And he starts telling them about some wonderful divorce that's taken place, and they committed suicide. And he'll go on to this, and he says, and just imagine that. Imagine what's happening here. And he'll describe it, and he'll describe it, and he'll go on with his negativity, and the negativity will get started, and the wife will get negative, and he will get more negative. And when he gets all through with breakfast now, he's in such a nasty mood that he don't even like his dog. And he's going out to face the world with a positive attitude. Do you see how ridiculous it is, folks? Do you see how ridiculous it is and some of the ridiculous things we do in life, and we wonder why success doesn't always come to us in the proportion that we'd like to have it come to us? Expect wonderful things. Be a creator of ideas. Let's not be moons, the reflector of ideas. Let's be suns. Let's be the creator of the light. Let's be the creator of the ideas, because we all have the capacity. You know, that the guardian of the gate is the conscious mind. This guardian can at any time let any thought through to the subconscious mind at once. Any thought at any time. We are thinking human beings. We have the capacity to think of anything in this world we can think of. But we do not have the capacity to think of nothing. Now you try to imagine what nothing is. Try to get a thought of that. There is absolutely no way. So that means that we are thinking human beings, and there's thoughts flying through our mind continuously. A steady flow of thoughts all the time coming through the mind. Now, where do these thoughts come from? All of a sudden you say, gee, that just must have come out of the clear blue sky. It must have come out of clear blue to me. You didn't think of it. In fact, it might be something you didn't even know about. And the thought comes through, and you say, well, that's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? That couldn't happen to me. And so you throw that thought aside. And if it's a good thought, why not accept it and stop it and analyze it and accept it and let it happen to you? And these thoughts are coming through our mind all the time. But a negative thought comes through, and it stops there for a minute and say, boy, that's a good negative thought. I'll have to stop and analyze that one. And you start thinking about it, and pretty soon you get a frown on your face, and you think about it a little more, and you create a beautiful picture. And all of a sudden, you put that down in the subconscious, and you say, boy, there's another bad thing's going to happen to me. Have you ever caught yourself thinking about something you didn't want to think about, and you've been thinking about it for 5 minutes? And all of a sudden you say, what am I thinking about that nasty thing for? We do it all the time, folks. But we can stop now anytime we want. And we can change that thought and put in a good thought. If you don't want to think about oranges, change the thought and think about bananas if you want. If you don't want to think about lack, change the thought and think about prosperity. If you don't want to think about hate, think about love. If you don't want to think about anything that is negative, put a positive idea in your head. And you know what happens? And you can analyze it, and you can just dream about it and everything else, and get all these seeds planted properly, and have all these wonderful things happen. Get 20 wonderful seeds planted. Get them written down, defined. Thank you. Plant them into the subconscious mind, put it away, and every time it comes back into the mind, and the law is saying it's on its way, you just say thank you. Don't analyze it because it's already planted. Just say thank you and go on. And have 10, 15, 20, 30 of these wonderful seeds planted, and folks, you'll walk on air.
Joe, just quickly there. Like you said something that just jumped out at me, right? I don't know if I can get it back there, right? But he said, hold on, let me see if I can get it back. I don't know how far. Where are we? 35. Could have only been a few seconds back. Let me see.
Come into the subconscious mind, put it away, and every time it comes back into the mind and the law is saying it's on its way, you just say thank you. Don't analyze it because it's already planted. Just say thank you and go on.
There, and go on. You know, and that's what he's talking about there, and from the point of view of action. You know, like, obviously, regardless of whatever business that you're in or what it is that you do to make money, you know, what service you provide or whatever it is, that go on. It's not about procrastinating. It's not about doing it tomorrow, starting something tomorrow. It's about going on. It's about moving on today, taking action today, you know, saying thank you. Right, let's get on with it. In fact, this is your thing. Get it done. Right? That's it. Right? You know, otherwise it's just wishful thinking. You're just wishing it into existence. I was talking to a young girl earlier this week, and she was talking about manifesting stuff and everything else and how it doesn't work. And I was saying, yeah, you're right. It doesn't work because you're not doing it properly. You know, you're just trying to wish something into existence. You can't wish something into existence. You have to act on it as well. It takes action. You know, like you don't get something for nothing. These are the natural laws or the universal laws that he's talking about, you know, like, and, you know, when I think about all the times when I've been doing things and kept on repetitively doing things and not getting the result that I want, sometimes it's just a small change and then the result changes. Do you know what I mean? You know, he's talking about analyzing what you're doing as well, you know, like those thoughts that you're having, but he's also talking about acting on them, you know, go on or get on, as he described it, you know, thank you. Yeah. Right. Let's go ahead. Because think about it this way, right? Let's say that there's this thing that you want, doesn't matter what it is, right? And you do all the things that he's talked about. You define it. You're very precise with defining it. You're visualizing it. You're wrapping it in emotion. Thank you. Right. You get on your way. You're working. You're doing your thing and everything else. And this thing pops up and you see it and you're like, thank you. And you get on again. You push in again. Do you know what I mean? He's talking about when you see that, that's the universe just saying, listen, it's on its way. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's moving towards you. You know, so I can see how that kind of works. But most people, you know, they're not, it's not fair for me to say most people, maybe some people, you know, me included, some, you know, parts of my life where I've not been focused. I've just been drifting. We've talked about this before, you know, that rudderless boat, you know, just drifting around in the lake or in the ocean, you know, rudderless, not knowing, going where the tide is taking it, no direction from me. There's been times in my life when I've been like that for sure. I know I have, you know? Yeah. But that can last 5-10 years, you know? Yeah. And you mentioned it earlier on. Life just gets in the way, you know, and you just drift on by, you know? Yeah. And you have these ideas, you have these thoughts, and you say, oh, God, no, I can't do that. Do you know what I mean? I've got this thing I've got to deal with. And really, that thing's probably not that important. You know, like if you did this other thing, that thing would just go away, you know? It would just, because, you know, your attention goes, what's that expression? Your energy goes where your intention flows or whatever. Do you know, I can't remember exactly what it was. You know, energy.
Where your focus is.
Yes. Yeah. So you have to be focused on what it is that you're doing. What he's talking about, this dream that he's talking about, could be that house, could be that car, could be that motorbike, could be that holiday. I don't care what it is. That's the reward. Yeah. That's the reward for doing the work, whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is. And it's about being the best at that, doing the very best at that you can, serving and, you know, focused on providing here, you know, and you get your rewards over here. You know, like, is that right? Yeah, because you're not focused on building that house, are you, necessarily? Do you know what I mean? You know, or that car. You're not going to build that car. You're going to buy that car. You know, so you know you have to focus on what it is that you're doing. You know, and that action that you're taking there, that idea that you're developing or you're working through, whether you're in your own business or somebody else's business, and of course, This guy is Jim Rohn's mentor, and Jim Rohn will tell you himself, or would have told you himself, and does quite frequently in his videos, you know, you can earn a nice living in a job. You can earn a nice living, you know, but profits are better than wages. You know, you should be doing something for yourself, or you can be doing something for yourself. Plenty of opportunities out there, Joe, that people can do that for themselves and find them.
I think I like the idea that you know, you mentioned in your sharing about Shoaff,
yeah.
Shoaff. You know, he said, you know, when you decided what you want, you know, just the Lord said, you know, it's on its way. This, you know, you ask me what you want in life, and the Lord, when you decided what you want in life, and you know, give it out and said in the way you think and your thought, the Lord will say, yep, this is, your wish is my command. It's on its way, and don't analyze it. You know, just get it going on. You know, getting on. I think if you remember, Bob, I think the first one or maybe the last video that we played, he said, you know, decide what you want and take your analytic mind out. You know,
that's right.
Because that's why a lot of people, they just did I ask for the right things? You know, when you set your mind on things that you really want in life, it's already done. It's already done. You know, that's you already gave it away to the universe and whoever you believe in it, and it's already done for you. You just keep moving forward, getting on with life, and the action or daily method of operation you do every single day just to get it. I think one of the things that you know, it's encouraged me in my journey, Mike, is, and I share this with my wife, it's I learn about myself every single day to a point I realize those things that I wish for or was thinking about that I really want in life, I get to a point that I understand it's already happened. And you know, I can add on to it. I know for sure it's not going to happen overnight for me. You know, sometime the opportunity and the abundance and prosperity is waiting for you to make sure you receive it. You know, that it's already done it, but it's waiting for you so that, okay, Joe is ready for the abundance, ready for the prosperity in life. And a lot of people, they analyze that and said, I asked this thing and I haven't got the result that I want. You know, did I ask the right things? You did ask the right thing, but you know, it's only a matter of time. And I think I listened to one of the successful people in our company, a couple called Michael Klaus and his wife. They're building a big organization, and they've been on the top end for a long time. And he said, one of the things that you can say, it's, I haven't got the result yet. I haven't got the financial outcome yet, you know, in your conversation, because truly it's already happened to you. It's just only a matter of time. So, you know, whether with your physical health or financial health or relationship health, you just keep telling yourself, I haven't got the results yet. That's the word that's very important. Yet, you know, I haven't got the body that I want yet, you know, but it's coming. It's coming, and I'm grateful for it. That's and right. I know for sure.
In your mind, it's already done, and it's just passage of time. That's right. You know,
yeah,
I have seen this with you, Joey. You know, over the last maybe 2 years, with, you know, the army, and you know how the army has become very predominant. You know, from 2 years ago, where it was just, you know, you'd be like going away for a weekend and a little bit, and it was early stages. Now, it was more or less like, it was like a little learning curve. Do you know what I mean? But now, you know, and it was maybe a steep learning curve, but now you're way up here now. Do you know what I mean? Way up here, you know? and now it's a much, much bigger part of your life than it was 2 years ago.
Mm.
But that's because you love it.
Yeah.
And you're putting love into it. And that can be the same. That can be the same for someone who hates their job, you know, and it's not that they hate their job. They love to hate their job. They love hating it. Do you know what I mean? And so if you're, you know, like whether you actually love it, or whether you love hating it, you're still sprinkling everything. You're still sprinkling love on everything that you're doing. It doesn't matter the positive or negative emotion. If you're giving it energy, you're giving it love. You're giving it that energy. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and that's what he was talking about earlier on when he was talking about get up in the morning, sit down at breakfast, read the newspaper, listen to the news. Negative, 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 and then you're just loving this, all these bad things, you know, because you're talking about them. You know, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? You know, whinge. You know, you're actually loving it. You're loving, you know, giving it this energy, you know, and you have to put your energy into things that you love. And that's why you're excelling in the army. That's why you're excelling in your, you know, property portfolio and all this kind of stuff, because you're actually doing things that you love doing, you know, and it's making a difference for you. It's making a difference for your family. It's making a difference for your colleagues, you know, who you're working with, because you love what you're doing and you're doing it with the right kind of passion, you know, and that passion is to serve and raise everybody else up, make a difference in other people's lives. And there's a reward. He talked about it. You get back what you give out. This is what he was talking about. You get it back in spades, you know, like, you're a proper example to people, Joey. You know, you're a creator. That's what he was talking about. You know, you're creating it yourself.
Yeah.
Hold on, we'll get on with it. We'll watch this last few minutes, and then I want to get your final thoughts, because these last few minutes, I love that. You know, if he's going to say what I think he's going to say, I love this bit, because this is deep.
And have 10, 15, 20, 30 of these wonderful seeds planted, and folks, you'll walk on air, and you'll have miracles happen in your life. And don't be afraid to do this. If your wife isn't in harmony with the wonderful things that you want to happen to you, or if the husband isn't in harmony with you, or if the children aren't, or your friends aren't, you don't have to show them. Plant your seeds privately then, and put them away privately, and plant them deep. And all these wonderful things will happen, and say, you know, the one thing about that person, I don't know what happened to them, but man, oh man, everything they touch turns to gold. And that's the reason. That's the reason, folks. The planting properly of your seeds. It's a real pleasure being here with you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, they've changed. I'll have to find the original recording of that, because they have changed that, or they've cut a section out of that. In fact, I think it was earlier on, actually. I noticed that there was an edit in that. But he talked about how maybe 100 years ago more, you know, medical doctors would perform experiments on convicted men. You know, people who've been convicted of murder. They would perform experiments on them. And one of the experiments that they did was they got 6 or 7 convicts who were convicted to death. They would tie them, strap them to a table, and they would say, look, we're going to, you know, drain the blood from your body. I know this might sound a bit gruesome, right? They would drain the blood from their body, and so what would they do? They would blindfold them, they'd strap them to a table, blindfold them, tell them that they were going to do this to them, and then they would stick a pin in their finger, and then using a jug of water, they would convince them that the blood was draining from their body. You know, they pour a jug of water into a bucket, and you'd have this drip in and pour in, and then this person would think. And of course, every one of these people, you know, passed on without losing a single drop of blood. Just through the power of their mind, they lost the will to live, because they thought that they were dying. And that is how powerful the mind is. And when you understand, when you can actually get to grips with that concept, you know, that you become what you think about. Like if you think you're going to be dead, you literally are going to think yourself to death.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
What about, instead of that, why not think yourself to life,
Yeah.
greatness,
Mm. Yeah.
And to be honest, greatness doesn't, I'm not talking about being the king of the world. I'm talking about just being, the head of your family, a giver, someone who is filled with kindness, not submission, or somebody that gets walked over, but someone who is kind and fair, I'm talking about, whatever that greatness is for you. Do you know what I mean? That's a pillar of the community that people look up to, that, I don't know, why not think yourself into that existence instead of the one that we have, or the one that we were encouraged to be when we were younger. And we were only encouraged that way to protect us from falling over and maybe, getting hurt.
Yeah.
When every lesson for success tells you that in order to succeed, first you must fail.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to get Joey's final thoughts, and then we're going to listen to that video that I love listening to. It's my favorite video. I don't know why. Yeah. It just is. Right.
Everything is there. Everything is there on that.
It is. So, in fact, before Joey's final thoughts, one other thing. So obviously we've got the My Why Tribe, right? This is something that I've been working on. Joey, I'm hoping, is going to be super involved in this. And of course, there's a bunch of other people, Heather King, Peter Darrow, Henny, as well as a bunch of other people. And of course, look, there's a couple of things that we've got going on. There's a WhatsApp community where you can scan the QR code for the WhatsApp community. And of course, you can join that community. It's free to join, doesn't cost anything. And inside that community, there's a couple of different groups: inspiration, motivation. There's going to be, recommended audios, things like this. And again, you can just join them. But the My Why tribe is really, is to help people find their why, to be able to live with purpose and grow together. That's what that WhatsApp community is all about. It's about, growing together. Or, it's not about, having these people in there that are, better than somebody else and trying to teach people. It's a place where we can all be creative and grow together. That's really what it's about. And of course, the other QR code then is for a Zoom registration, where, in just, I think it's on the 30th September, 7 p.m. It's a Zoom launch event, and it's going to be a powerful online session where we're going to introduce a new approach to personal and community growth, purpose-led way to help others grow together and create a lasting impact, and it's a real fresh perspective, and so, I want you to, discover this movement, get involved, join now, and it's going to be people first leadership, with a real shared purpose. There's going to be a pathway overview where you can learn about how you can become part of something meaningful that rewards connection, care, and contribution. Got a special guest in Roger Hill, CEO of a very interesting nutraceutical company. He's going to share some insights and inspiration and a much bigger mission behind what they're doing. And of course, look, whether you're just simply curious or ready to explore something new, this could be an idea that you're looking for, and then it's about you taking action. Well, then maybe this is a conversation that's worth having. So, reserve your seat, click on that, or scan that QR code, register, and listen, bring along a guest, someone cares about making a difference too. So, look, check that out. And of course, it's the My Why Tribe. Right, now back to Joey's final thoughts, because these are important. They are one of my favorite bit of the show. Right. Give me your final thoughts.
Thanks, Mike. I have to go back to our conversation before, and that really got my attention. And your reminder of a very important things in life. Every morning you have an opportunity to reset, to start again. And I think the conversation, the learning that we have tonight, we have an opportunity. A lot of people in life, they go through life, and they have their own challenge, adversity in life, and they look back in their life and thinking, all those years have been wasted. All of this time I haven't been neglect my dream, my vision. And but today, if you're watching this, I here with my good friend Mike McKillen to remind you that life can get in the way. The weed can creep into our dreams and our vision and our the things that we really want in life, the thing we decided to do in life, and then life get in the way, the weeds start getting in. We have an opportunity every single day to reset, to restart again. And it's all about start with a question. What is your why? Why did you decided to be take a look at this video that you currently look at it? Why did you want to do something about your health? Why do you want to do something about your financial health? Why do you want to do something about your family, your career, whether it's a retirement, your retirement future, or with your family or loved ones? And those questions can revoke you to think. And we just talk about a lot of things. And I think the video that we listen to is how important the way we think about things in life. Everyone want things in life, whether it's a good health, whether it's a good relationship, whether it's a good career, whether it's a good financial security in the future, whether it's to have abundance and prosperity. Everyone. And I think what we heard from the video tonight from Earl Shoaff, what we really want in life, it starts with what we think about. If you want abundance in life, you start doing things that give you abundance. Start to give more. Start to share more. Help other people more. And I think it's a good reminder for all of us that in life we all want something in life. And when we want something in life, some people they just forget about it and never do something about it. But tonight we've been advised, we've been encouraged. What we think about it, what we really want in life, what we think that we want in life, and we start write those things down. And it can be, and those things, it's like a seed. It could be one seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, up to 20 seed. You can plant multiple seed in a garden, and you can see different plants coming up. If it's a different seed, it will grow up with a different 20 different seed. And it's the same thing with our mind, our brain and our mind. Those activities very powerful, and I think that's our greatest asset in life is how can we use our mind properly to think and to develop that idea in our mind so that we can feel about that idea. And when we feel about that idea, we start moving in the direction that will get us to where we want to accomplish, to make that idea, visible idea, into invisible idea to a visible physical being, whether it's money, whether it's good health, whether it's abundance and prosperity. There's a lot of things that we learn from this information, and I think we share from our experience. Both of us we have. We both got up in the rift sometime, and then we got drifted. But because we make the decision that we're gonna start something, that we're gonna move forward in life, because we want to achieve the things in life while we still live, breathe. That's why we always come back. We always collected the course. We always adjust the rocket to come back, and it's because we are shooting to the moon. And every time we drifted, we miss calibration. We calibrate ourselves by surround ourselves with the right environment, be in the right group, be in the right mentorship, listen to the people who been there, done that, what we really want in life. And I think myself and Mike, that's what we do in life. We surround ourselves with the right people, right mentor, right partnership, so that we can grow from their experience, and when we learn, how can we improve ourselves in the way? Mike shared the experience that I went through in life, and I'm so grateful because this personal growth, personal journey, and this personal this wisdom that we learn every single week has helped me. And I think, if I can share with Mike and yourself that, listen, one of the things in my life that I get to a point that I'm in peace, knowing I have what I really want in life, and I already planted seed. And I planted seed and I put it away because I already know it's going to happen to me. It's all about to me to make the committed decision that I'm going to start this and I'm going to finish this. And when I put my focus and my energy on where I am heading and where I'm going, I know for sure, even though storm season, different season can get in the way, try to throw me overboard from what I decide in life to do. But I knew if I stay in course, if I persistent with my action, do the right activity, surround myself with the right people and the right environment, right mentorship, and keep feeding my brain, my physical body with the right things in life, like activity, exercising, eat the right nutrition, read the right books, listen to the right audio or podcast. I knew for sure that helped to cultivate the seed that I planted 5 years ago or 6 years ago to get me to where I am going. And tonight, myself and my good friend Mike, we're here to encourage you. We're here to support you. And I think that's the good thing in our professional. It's not only that you're going to walk by yourself, but you have a wonderful people that they really want you to win in life, really want you to achieve success in life. And because we know if we can't help you success in life, we won't be able to success in life. And I think that's the beauty of what we do, what we share. It's not only that we grow as a person to be the best possibility and have the ability to create our own abundance and prosperity, but we can help other people achieve abundance and prosperity too. I love you all. I think we're going to listen to a great video that will sum up whatever we whatever we share with Mike every single day, every single week. And because if you pay attention to that short video of our mentor, Bob Proctor, I'm telling you, you will understand why we're doing this. Mike, thank you very much for the time. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate your energy and your contribution to our work. And I hope that we change lives and help other people success and moving forward in life.
Joey, you're already changing lives. To be honest, listen, look, if you've never seen this before, you've never heard Joey, go and find him on facebook.com/joey.unga. What he's talking about changing your life. Joey is an example of someone who's changed his life. And I'm not just saying that lightly. You only literally have to go to his Facebook page, scroll back a couple of years, see where he was, see where he is today. He's on goddamn TV now. Do you know what I mean? Like this guy has literally changed his life, between here first, here. This is where it changed, in here, So listen, my name is Mick McQuillan. You've been watching Joey and Mike live. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, click that notification button. You'll know when we're on, usually around about the same time every week. And of course, this was episode 108, part 2, How to Become a Millionaire, Earl Shoaff. Go back and watch last week's episode. If you missed it, just to catch up. And again, look, we'll see you next week. But look, as Joey says, you've got to get it done. You've got to get it done, right? And you can have what you want. You can be what you want. It's all in this next video. Every little bit of it. If you want a copy of this, just let me know. I'll send you a copy of it. And listen, I'll see you guys next week. I'm excited, Joey. You've got me all pumped up. Right. See you later.
You see, we are created in a magnificent vibration, in an absolutely magnificent vibration. Born risk takers. Free. That conditioning takes place after birth. You can change it. It takes guts. takes goals. Now, do you know something? You're sitting there watching this and you're thinking, by God, I'm going to change something. I always say, keep reminding yourself that you have tremendous reservoirs of potential within you, and therefore you are quite capable of doing anything you set your mind to. You really can. I don't care what the cynics tell you. Quit listening to some of your peers. Now, all you must do is figure out how you can do it, not whether you can or not. When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? You've got to create a sense of urgency. I'm going to do it right now.
If you can see it, you can do it. But the beautiful truth is you can do anything. We got to know there is a place. There is a specific frequency. And if you get on that frequency, you're going to attract what you need to you. This is what it's all about. Why have you been endowed with such awesome powers? If you'll make a committed decision, this I'm going to do. And you don't have to know how. You do not have to know how. The second you make the committed decision, you flip your brain onto the frequency that you have to be on to attract what you have to attract to manifest the thing that you want. If you can see it, you can do it. It's got to be something you want. Wants come from inside. Act like you're already there. Walk, talk, speak, live like you're already there. Don't set a small goal. Don't set something that doesn't really wind your stem. Set it so big it jazzes you. It really gets you going. When something of a very high nature resonates with the very high side of you, you'll know it. You'll know it. You will feel it. Feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. The only prerequisite, do you want it? Not do you need it, not could you do it. The only prerequisite is, do you want it? Take the lid off your marvelous mind and dream. For goodness sake, give yourself the right to do that. Get your analytical mind out of the way. Put it in your pocket for a while. All you're doing is exploring, daydreaming. What did Lawrence say? All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their mind waken the day to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dream with open eyes to make it possible. This I did.